Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our 7th Black Male Unemployment Forum by the Olive Branch Project. The purpose of our forum is to address the issue of black male unemployment as it relates to Gainful County. For those who have never participated, we encourage you to watch all of our forums online at youtube.com/Olive Branch Forum. Today we're going to talk about a topic, moving behind the mask, finding gainful employment for black men. And throughout our forum, we have identified at least 4 main barriers to employment for black men, nationally and locally. First, there is the lack of skills and education in order to receive gainful employment. Secondly, we recognize that there's a lack of soft skill development. Thirdly, we do know that there's a racial problem with racial discrimination practices in our state, particularly with targeting adversely black men. And also there's a transportation need, particularly for black men in rural areas that don't have access to public transportation to be able to find gainful employment. So what we've done is we've had quarterly forums to address the issue, identify community partners and collaborators to work together to connect black men to gainful employment, and understand that this is a process. It's something that we have to be critically engaged in. So we have some community partners here today that I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves and tell what they do here in the community. And then we'll get started with reviewing our economic viability process. That's the purpose of our forum today. We'll begin first with Dr. Caldwell.
My name is Dr. Caroline Caldwell, and I am from New Mind Health and Care, which is a nonprofit organization specifically developed to reduce the recidivism rate in South Carolina. And what we do is we address the needs of reentering citizens, their families. We connect them with needed resources in the community, but we especially take a focus on workforce development because that is a huge obstacle as a result of their criminal history.
Let's give her a hand, everybody. Next.
My name is Alicia Whiteside. I'm a senior investigator in the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and our job is to eradicate discrimination. And discrimination, as we know, comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes. But we deal with discrimination based on race, color, age, sex, religion, national origin, equal pay. And with race, it also includes criminal records. We know that there's certain things that employers can and cannot do to applicants in terms of discriminating.
All right. And what we want to do is start with our handout today, and it says economic viability process. This paper looks just like this. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes on it. And what we want to do is discuss this illustration and be able to help it be more relevant for us. Someone first coming out of prison, someone who just lost a job, a black man in Gainful County, wanted to know what is the process, what do I need to do to find gainful employment. We want to be able to interact with this and make it more relevant and make it easily understandable so that there will be hope and not pessimism, hope, not despair, and identify and connect black men, such as the young men that are here today, with people and resources so that you can realize your dreams and be economically viable. So the first step that we have identified through our forums and through our meetings, and there's some basic things that need to be in place prior to somebody even filling out a job application. Let church say amen about that.
Amen.
And Dr. Caldwell is a great resource for helping, as she says, with her clients, help making people, teach them how to package themselves. All right? Teach them how to package themselves. And so there's a very naive assumption that all a person needs to do in order to get a job is just to apply for one. And that's a very naive assumption that I need a job, I apply for a job, I'm supposed to get the job. When we talk to most people in the community, that's generally what they think needs to happen in order to get somebody from being unemployed to being employed. And so 4 things that we want to talk about, and I'll get you to comment on that first box, Dr. Caldwell, is you need to have a valid skill or education. I mean, you don't need to have a PhD or you need to have an ED, but you need to have a skill. It's something that is verifiably and is legal and something that that can contribute to the development of society. That's something you need to have in hand prior to filling out a job application. Then we get your comments in a minute. Secondly, you need to have a strong work ethic. Thirdly, quality interpersonal skills. And fourthly, a powerful networking skills and community involvement. So Dr. Caldwell, comment on why those are necessary prior to filling out the job application.
Okay, I'm going to take them one at a time. The valid skill of education. 1 in 5 people in Greenville County is illiterate. There are approximately, and you correct me if I'm wrong.
1 in 5 is what?
Illiterate.
Illiterate. Okay, right.
And there are approximately 400, 600 without a high school.
25% of the blacks in Greenville County don't have a high school diploma.
Don't have a high school diploma. So in looking at that, recognizing that most jobs require some form of certification, some form of validation that you can read, that you can add, and that you can have some basic logic reasoning skills. So if you don't have that, then your chances of becoming employed are even less. But you can not necessarily have a GED, but then what do you look at? Well, you look at work keys. You look at a career readiness certificate, because there are lots of jobs in manufacturing that don't require a GED, but will require work keys. Why? Because it demonstrates that you can read, that you can add, and that you have logic reasoning. So you have to package yourself. That's the first step in packaging yourself. I don't have a high school diploma, I don't have a GED, so what else can I do? You can get that work key certificate. A strong work ethic. I've been doing this for about 2.5 years, and I can't tell you how many of my clients with a criminal history that I have been able to help get a job. It's not getting the job, it's keeping the job, right? It's sustainability. It's understanding what happens in an employment environment. It's understanding how to have problem-solving skills and conflict resolution skills. It's understanding how to accept authority when that's not something that you're used to. And again, that's with the interpersonal skills. You have to know how to talk to people. You have to know how to behave around people. You have to understand social cues and what's expected of you. And then powerful networking. People have to get outside of their bubble. If everybody you know only has what you have, how do you grow? You don't.
Okay. All right, let's give her a hand on those comments. Now, knowing that we live in a real-world situation, that since Barack Obama is our president and serving the second term, he's African-American, that did not end racism in America. That black men, in particular, are still being discriminated against even in the workplace once they find employment, that can lead to them becoming unemployed. And if I can just comment briefly, last year we received through the media that EOC filed a lawsuit against BMW where 86 employees were fired after working there for up to some cases 5 years. And 78 of those persons were African American, is that correct? 78 of those 83 employees were African American, and blanket exclusions was used. In other words, these persons had a criminal record prior to working for the temp agency. They were working through the temp agency and then hired in the BMW, and BMW went back and used their criminal record as a reason for firing them, which some of them probably still don't have a job now, I'm assuming. So talk about how we as a community can use EEOC as an advocate, knowing that discrimination does take place on a large and small scale.
Well, a lot of companies, unfortunately, are following BMW's pattern and looking at employees that have worked at companies for long periods of time, and decide they want to go ahead and look at their background, history, for no rhyme or reason, and say, hey, well, you've had a conviction 25 years ago. And they're saying that it's job-related and consistent with business necessity, which is apparently not true. We have a conviction that happened 25 years ago, whether it's 10 years ago.
So what we want to have a balance here today is a balance of personal development with workforce development. So our other two panelists today are part of the workforce development process where I have ambition, I have a strong work ethic, I want to take care of myself and my family, I have a criminal record, and I don't want that to be used against me when I do find employment. So I have an advocate for that. But I realize that in order to succeed in America today, having just a high school diploma is not enough. If I want to find gainful employment and a living wage income, I'm going to need to further my education and go back to school. Who do I go to in order to get those services? So we have a representative from Share here today and a representative from Gainful Tech to talk a little bit about that. I'm a student. I'm new to your office. I don't know anything about what Share does. I've heard about this Ladders program. I have some minor and major convictions on my record. What can Share do for me if I want to further my education?
Well, first of all, what we do is do a complete assessment on the individual, determine what they're eligible to actually train for. We look at their work history, we look at their background, we look at their education, and by determining, just doing some preliminary work before they actually get into a training program, we try to set them up for success. Once we determine what program that person is eligible for, we work with them to make them employable as far as working on soft skills, how to interview, how to dress, how to be on time for an interview, how to answer questions dealing with a criminal history if you have one, so that it's not held against you. Then once we complete the soft skills portion of that, we enroll them in a program and monitor their progress while they're in the training program. Once they complete the training program, at that time they earn a certification in which they are considered to be employable based upon that certification. At that time, when they start interviewing, we work with them continuously until they become employed, and we follow them for a duration of 1 year after they finish the program. So the program works. We do have individuals that have completed our training program in manufacturing, in truck driving, in computer technologies that have had criminal records. But everything is dependent upon that person, their determination, and we try to work through the barriers with their background.
Let's give Share a hand. Thank you. Next time we're going to make Travis work from Urban League before we go to Dr. Monk. Right. And we're going to, have a time you want to have any questions or comments you want to make, and anything you heard. This is an open forum, so this is the time you got any questions or concerns about anything you heard. You're more than welcome to chime in and let us know. Any questions about anything you heard so far? Okay. So, Dr. Nixon, if you have a student at Gainful Tech that's had some criminal history, maybe committed to enroll in school, what type of challenges are you seeing in motivating that young man to let them know that these goals not only are achievable, but also attainable? What challenges are you seeing?
Actually, it's two that continues to come up. And the first thing is usually men with some type of past, they're honest with themselves because that's their past. But they're a lot more reluctant to be honest with the other people that are helping them along that process. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you tell everybody about your past, because everybody can't handle your past.
Right.
But at the same time, like at Gainful Tech, we have people like myself, where I'm a faculty advisor for African American males. So our job is to make sure you succeed, period. I have access to people at the college that the average student and average employee does not have access to. I can literally go knock on certain people's doors and they'll bring me to the front of the line. I've walked different men into offices that are supposedly locked and gotten them their financial aid 15 minutes later and walked out. It's just that access that we have. And we try to get to guys to be able to do that, but you have to be honest with us. Well, they didn't give you my financial aid. Well, why didn't they give you your financial aid? What did the lady tell you at the front desk? Well, she said something about something on the form that didn't look right. What form was it? When you show me that, I know exactly who to take you to instead of running around in circles.
Right.
Because that's the second thing that usually gets brothers down really bad with college, and it's colleges overall. The process is horrendous. The process is not outlined. The process is not as simple as the colleges like to say that they are. You can go there, and if your situation is perfect and squeaky clean, then the process only takes a few minutes. If your process has any hiccups in it whatsoever, it can make the ordeal almost traumatic. But a lot of times, if you get in touch with somebody to walk you through the process, talk you through the process, sometimes the person that you're talking to really doesn't have the answer. They just don't know. And the person who does have the answer is just further back in the office. So sometimes it's having another person come alongside you and ask some questions for you, figuring out exactly which questions should I ask, exactly which person should I go to.
Yeah, I'm gonna need your phone number after this right there, or some contact information.
We got the cards and pass them over.
Because the simple fact is, I went to Greenville Tech when I got out of prison. I was doing 15 years, and so I signed up at the Radio Center in Simpsonville through Jackie Williams. She know, whatever. So placement test, I was eligible to take the personal trainer course, which I was taking in grip, and so I was going. So after about like what, a month or two,
About 2 months.
about 2 months, they kicked me out of the court, stating that my record, because I had a manslaughter charge. I was in class, the lady said I need to go to the bar to talk to this lady named Lillian Dunaway, and she's over the health and science part of Greenville Tech. And she told me that I can't be a part of that due to the Obama Health Care Act bill. Showed it to me in writing, that I cannot be licensed in Greenville Tech College to be a personal trainer because of my background. So they kicked me out of school. I goes back to, because they now they gave me some options. Like she said, they gave me HVAC, they gave me HVAC, auto body, mechatronics, truck driver, and I can't think of the other course. But I know they gave me 5 trucks. But now I'm in a dilemma because they said I owe them $776 for student books or whatever. And I'm like, then I go write my complaint. I wasn't aware, this is my first time being in the college setting. I wasn't aware that financial aid, I'm thinking y'all one system that the paperwork's gonna get passed down and this is what it is, but it was supposed to be my duty to go to the financial aid office and tell them that I've been withdrawn. But how can me coming home for 15 years, that was big to me.
Yeah.
So that like, you keep me out of school and I'm trying to do good?
It's painful. It's painful.
That's painful.
You need to talk.
Yeah.
Because there's a committee that the president of the college just started for this situation right here. Because it's the process, this is a perfect example. The process is extremely linear. It's a one-size-fits-all. I went to buy a